Now that you are getting comfortable with navigating in Blender, let's dive into some transform tools that will make your modeling experience much smoother and more precise. In this lesson, we are talking about transform orientations, snapping tools, and proportional editing. Let's break each one down. First, we have transform orientations. But before that, let's go to Object Properties tab. Under Viewport Display, first I'll enable its axis. From here, you can enable more properties like name, in front visibility, axis, etc. Let's enable axis. Now I'll take the move tool and try to move the object along its axis. As this object's direction is the same as the world axis, we can easily move it along its own axis. But if I rotate the object a little, now its direction is changed. Now if I take the move tool and try to move this object, it's moving along the world axis direction. But in modeling, in some cases, we need to move vertices, edges, faces or object along their own local axis. For that, we have to switch from default global orientation to its normal orientation. Now I can move it along its face normal. Local mode also acts here the same. There are more options like view. It shifts its directions based on your camera angle. Next we have cursor. In this case, Blender aligns the transform tools to match the orientation of the 3D cursor, not the object. These are not so useful. Most commonly, global and normal mode is often used. Next, we have transform pivot point. It determines the reference point used when you move, rotate or scale objects or mesh elements like vertices, edges or faces. For example, you can see the dots in the center of the cube. It is the pivot point of this cube. That means when I rotate the object, Blender considers the pivot point as a reference point while rotating it. In object mode, you can change the pivot point of it. Like if I want to place its pivot point at the location of the cursor, I can go to the Object tab in the top bar. Now from the Set Origin menu, I can set its pivot point or origin point at the cursor. Now if I try to rotate the object will rotate centering the 3D cursor where its pivot point is placed. Or if I try to scale the object, it will scale using this reference point. Another way to change the pivot point is by going to Edit mode. Here I can take the move tool and move the cube up. Here you can see the pivot point is not following the object. This way I can place the pivot point anywhere I want. Now let's look at the options we have for the pivot point. Here we have several options. Let's learn them one by one. But before that, I'll subdivide the mesh a few times to demonstrate these options. Now I'll enable face selection mode. Now we'll look at the first option called bounding box center. I'll enable it. Now I'll select 3 faces and take the rotate tool so you can see the pivot point location. As I am rotating it, you can see the pivot is placed at the center of the bounding box surrounding these 3 faces. It is useful when working with multiple elements. Next is 3D cursor. Here the pivot point becomes the location of the 3D cursor. It is great for precise controls. For example, placing the 3D cursor at a joint and rotating limbs around it. Next we have individual origin. Here each selected object or element like faces transforms around its own center. It is ideal for scaling or rotating multiple objects separately at once. Next we have median point. Here the transformation pivot is the average center of all selected elements. It is good for standard transformations when working on multiple vertices or objects. Up next we have active element. Here the pivot point is set to the active element, which is the last selected elements. Here you can see this face is highlighted brighter. This gives you more control over how transformations behave relative to one specific element. Up next, we have snap. Snapping is super useful when you want to align objects or vertices exactly. To turn it on, look at the magnet icon at the top of the 3D viewport and click it to enable snapping. Next to it, click the drop down to choose the snapping type. Closest increment. It snaps object to the grid. It is super helpful when you are working with architectural models, hard surface objects, or anything that requires clean measured alignment. Now, when I move the cube, you will notice objects move in steps instead of smoothly. That's because they are snapping to Blender's grid, which is based on meters by default. Next, we have the grid. That means aligning your objects, vertices, or other elements directly with the visual grid lines in the 3D viewports. Blender's grids represent the foundation of your 3D space. Each square by default is 1 meter in size, so snapping to it means your objects stick exactly to these divisions, allowing perfect alignments. Next, we have vertex snapping. This snaps your selection to the vertex points or corner of other object or geometry. To demonstrate, I will add a cube. Now, I'll enable vertex snapping. Now, I'll move the cube. As I move the cube with snapping enabled and hover over a vertex, Blender will pull the selected element right onto that vertex. Same goes for edge snapping. With edge snapping, your selection will snap to the edge or lines of geometry, not just the corner. Next is face snapping. Face snapping allows you to snap objects on mesh elements directly onto the surface of another object's face. So these are some useful options related to snapping. Now let's move on to another important option called proportional editing. Proportional editing is a super useful tool when you want to make smooth organic changes to your mesh. To demonstrate, I'll delete all. Then I'll add a sphere. Now rotate it a bit. Now I'll switch to edit mode and enable proportional editing. Now when you click on the arrow next to this icon, it reveals various types of proportional editing. By default, smooth is selected. Now I'll select the center vertex. Then I'll take the move tool and move it right. As you can see, it is pulling the surrounding vertices gently with the smooth fall off. You can control the proportional size using the sliders on the bottom. Next we have sphere. It creates stronger fall off in the middle, softer at the edge. It is good for round shapes. Next we have the root. It creates quick fall off near the center, very slow towards the edge. Next we have the sharp. It affects a tight area. It is great for sharper control. Next we have the linear. In this case, influence drops off in a straight linear manner. Next we have the constant. In this case, everything within the radius moves the same, no fade. So these are some useful ones. Let's set it back to smooth, which is the most preferred one. In proportional editing, there is an option called connected only. When connected only is enabled, proportional editing will only affect vertices that are physically connected to the selected elements, ignoring any nearby geometry that is not directly linked. And that's conclude this lesson. Play around with these tools. They will help you model more confidently and creatively. See you in the next lesson.